When I started, you couldn't have any visible tattoos or piercings. So when I was 18, I got a piercing that was really special to me over in Germany. And it's the one that is in my mouth. My boss told me, you have to take that out pretty much if you want to keep your job. And I was like, 21. Well, fine, then fire me. So she decided that she was going to change the dress code. It was something that was hard for me because we're in a suburb of Madison. I was definitely the oddball. So there were definitely people that did not enjoy my appearance of having tattoos, piercings, and colored hair. It was interesting. Some people were fine with it, and there was definitely some older clients that were really put off by it. So it has been so interesting for me to see how the industry has evolved over the years and just how much it is accepted, embraced. And now, like, you see people with color in their hair, and I mean, who doesn't?
Welcome to Brazen and Bold. Today, I am joined by Jenna Pauline Lanaway Meulenberg, the creative force behind Ruby Lou Salon, a Goldwell national artist, and a really good friend of mine who has been running circles in this industry for just around 21 years, right? Almost 22 years. So She's been around for a minute. I'm so happy to have her on the show today, talking a little bit about her experience, and honestly, just a good excuse to catch up with someone that I adore. Oh, yeah. Let's hope that this is not the most normal or reasonable or professional that you've ever been, because I don't know what I would do about it.
Right?
First of all, your hair's looking very cute. It was long when I saw you last, and this is so pretty. I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. I like it in all the ways you do it. When I met you, it was very short. Then you got like a nice long shag mullet. Now we're back into a cute bob. For those of you who are just listening and can't see, she's adorable. And you've been every shade of the rainbow pretty much since I've known you. There's one color you haven't done. Tell us about it.
I haven't done brown.
Ooh, that's it.
That's it. Green, yellow, blue, teal, purple, pink. I think everything in between. Minty once.
Minty?
But, yeah, black. But not
never
just
brown.
No.
I think the most I've seen you, like the color I see you in most is like a blush, rose gold, yellow.
Yes.
Kind of in that peachy copper family.
Yellow, rose gold. Yeah.
And that's what you're wearing now. And I kind of love it. Does that tend to be your favorite that you go toward?
Yeah. I feel like there's some colors where I'm like, oh man, I really have to do my makeup to make this look right with my skin.
Well, this is going to be creative.
This tends to be one that isn't as hard to like make work for me. So,
okay, well, here we go. So Jenna and I met at the Academy in Santa Monica back when Goldwell had an academy there. It was honestly, it was probably this time 10 years ago. I think we had our training 10 years ago when they had the cutting and design team. I can't really remember what it was called. And we had auditioned. It was not technically part of the national team. They had just launched cutting and styling team, and we got to be a part of that. And I remember it was right before Christmas. So it was probably, this is our 10-year anniversary, actually. I got you something special.
This is it. Friendiversary.
It's our friendiversary. So it was about, I think it was probably really within a week, 10 years ago, that within this week time frame that we met, and we were at the Academy. And I just remember there's a pretty good gang of people. We weren't roommates. They paired us up with roommates for this training.
Yes.
And I remember I didn't know we had roommates. And so I showed up and like, there's a person in my room. Surprise! And that's cool. Good thing I liked her. But it was so fun because I remember you and I were like, you're cool. You're cool. And then the next time we had a training, we're like, do you want to be roommates? Do you want to form an alliance with me? So we were able to have these trainings that we would converge, and we formed an alliance at that point. And I think from there on out, we have, whether or not we had to have a roommate, we've purposefully roomed together for any training we could because it was just more fun that way.
I think that's when my roommate realized that I was very sarcastic. It was Jamie.
Oh, yes.
And I was telling everybody that she preferred to be called Jamai. And then she was wondering why people kept calling her that.
You're like, well, you haven't met me yet, but it's good to know you. Yeah, I remember this. And I remember you telling me she goes by Jemai. You're so I also remember that at the time, the people who were in charge of the training, not the educators, but just like the people who hired us, were a bit more serious and upscale and polished. And I feel
Yes.
like maybe ever since day one, I was a little bit on edge and worried I was going to get fired anytime I sat by you.
Yes, which
Mhm.
is true. People tend to not wanna sit by me at trainings for the inappropriate laughing at different times or, um, my appearance. So, yes.
Or basically just me, basically who I
Just me in
am.
general. Yeah, and it's hard because I like to sit right up front so I can be really paying attention to everything, so it's real noticeable when
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
laughing, so it's okay.
When Jenna's entered the room, it's apparent. And what I think is amazing about you, you are so infectious. You're like an infectious disease that everybody wishes they had in their life, and you really are. And I remember we got the nicknames Double Boost and Flat Marble. You can only see our faces in this recording, but there is a reason we both earned those nicknames. Those were styling products in the Goldwell style sign line back in the day. Anyway, we definitely made our mark on New York City and the different academies. We've had a lot of fun. We were the first
Yes.
group to graduate from their, oh my gosh, what was it? The Master Stylist
Master
program.
Science. Yep.
Yes, we got to take that Master Stylist program. And this was before either of us were on the national team. And just really fun to continue our journey. I want to know a little bit, starting from when you went to beauty school in 2004, right around then, what made you decide this was it for you? Like that this was your industry, besides the fact that no one else would have you? What was it?
It was just as a child. So for anybody who isn't of a certain age, you're just not going to understand that there was no YouTube and you couldn't just look things up. So we used to have book fairs at school. And I remember asking my mom for a book on how to braid your hair. So it was all different types of braiding and stuff like that. So this had to have been early elementary school. So I would go through that book and practice braiding on whoever I could get my hands on and just really liked it. So always thought that was just kind of like a fun thing to do, styling hair. Fast forward to 8th grade, for my birthday, I asked for all different boxes of hair dye so I could have an arsenal. And I did coloring and attempted my hands in cutting from my basement. And my mom would get so mad because everything would be stained up from that. So it was always just something I was very interested in and liked, but it didn't really click that this could be a career till I was about 16 and I started working in a salon as a receptionist. And that's when it clicked for me that this is something that you can do as a career and something that I really wanted to do. So my parents weren't on board and talked me into going to school first. So I finished my associate's degree just in general studies before I started apprenticing.
So they were wrong about you and you still did hair anyway, just, despite their best efforts to turn you into a refined woman of white
Yes.
collar success. And have they stand, like, do they stand corrected and do they acknowledge and see now? Because what you've created in this last 20 plus years in the industry has been pretty remarkable. So what do they think about it now?
They pretend that they never said that. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
remember when you told me I was never gonna have health insurance and I was never gonna make it? And then they'll be like, oh, who said that?
Yeah, of
And I think it's
course.
an unfortunate thing because it's still something that people think when, their children are deciding to go into it. There is definitely still apprehension about joining this industry, which I think is unfortunate because there is so many opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've made a lot of those opportunities for yourself. What I think is interesting, and I actually did not realize, is that we have a really similar background in what we did, except for that my parents did not force me to go to school because they couldn't afford it. And so I was the same. I didn't ever want to do anything else. I didn't have, speaking of not affording it, we didn't have the money to go to the book fair to get a book. I remember being like, that was for the rich kids. The rich kids got to buy books at the, now I'm like, those were like $3. That was a rough childhood, folks, but I'm fine. Therapy's helped. My parents are cool. Actually, they're amazing, but here we are. Fighting. No books, no big deal. There wasn't the internet or books for the book fair, but I do remember growing up with an aunt who did hair and seeing her do it and thinking how fun it was and how
Ah.
cool it was. So I had that in my mind from a young age, and I started doing it. I didn't have a basement because that was also for rich people. So if you had stairs or a house that wasn't on wheels, that also meant you had a lot of money. So
Do you
I
get a
remember
lot of tornadoes though in Arizona?
we don't. We had
We
some,
have
we
it
have
for
micro
survival.
bursts. Yeah, I get that. We don't really have those where I live. Um, but we did. I remember doing hair in my kitchen at the same age range, when I was probably eighth
Yes.
grade and seventh grade doing haircuts and so forth. And then going to Votech school in high school and being like, this is all I want to do. And I had my dad, in addition to a few other people in my life, my high school counselor being like, hey, do something more with your life. It's kind of a same story of don't do that. That's for people who can't have college or that kind of a thing. And I probably was like, yeah, and I can't have college. I don't want to. But I actually just really loved it. So similar background. And then you started as a receptionist. So did I. I did not know this. And it was at the salon that you wound up working at up
Yes.
until you started your own salon, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So talk to me about starting as that receptionist at 16, moving into maybe apprenticing, going to beauty school after. I mean, what was that whole thing like? And what led
Oh,
you
it
to
was
eventually open your own salon? Because only crazy people do that.
yeah, I mean, I wish I would have realized that a little earlier, but it was so much fun. I loved it. I loved getting to be in the salon atmosphere and just especially at the front desk, you'd see people coming in and then watching the change as they left was
Yes.
just really exciting for me. And clients were always so happy to come in and just have that me time. So it was just such a good energy there. I loved that so much. And I also loved being able to be a hair model a lot,
Mm. Okay.
changing my hair. And I'm like, this is just for me. I can never get a job where I can't have colored hair. Like, that was
Basically,
also, mhm.
and it sounds ridiculous, but even 20 years ago, to have visible tattoos or visible, like, what do you want to call it? Just even more creative piercings
Piercings. Yes.
or vivid hair. You were doing vivid hair before people did vivid hair. You were kind of
Yeah.
you were a unicorn before there were unicorns. And even 20 years ago, it was a different climate for people looking for employment. I mean, you would have to cover tattoos 20
It
years
was
ago to
it
work somewhere
it it
professional.
truly it truly was when I started, it was you couldn't have any visible tattoos or piercings. So when I was 18, I got a piercing that was really special to me over in Germany. And it's the one that is in my mouth. And my boss told me, you either take that out, like you have to take that out pretty much if you want to keep your job. And I was like, I don't know, 21. Well, fine, then fire me. And so she decided that she was going to change the dress code. And it was something that was hard for me because we're in a suburb of Madison, a lot of families, and I was definitely the oddball there. So there were definitely people that did not enjoy my appearance of having tattoos, piercings, and colored hair. So it was interesting. I think some people were fine with it, and there was definitely some older clients that were really put off by it. So it has been so interesting for me to see how the industry has evolved over the years and just how much it is accepted, embraced, and now like you see people with color in their hair, and I mean, who doesn't? Who hasn't had that? So
Right.
yeah.
Not to mention piercings, like how interesting, even in a salon space 20 years ago, someone would say, you got, what is it that you have pierced in your mouth? I don't know what that thing is or what your piercing is, but I can
Um,
see it's cute. It's like, it looks almost like a little stone on your teeth.
yeah, it's I think called the frenium.
Okay.
So it's that little bit of connective tissue between your lips and your gum.
I mean,
Yes.
and you said fire me. And I kind of like that because You actually, honestly, knowing you as well as I do, which I'm lucky to know you pretty well, it surprises me that you don't have a counterculture in your face or rebellious type of like, you're not an aggressive person. You're actually very
Right. And like
pleasant.
pink and glitter. Come on. What's more
I'm a
happy
nice
than that?
person, but actually you are. You're perennially pleasant, even though you're real life human that likes sparkles and pink. But that's so interesting that someone would say that, and it's cool that you advocated. And you've always been very intentional about your creativity. This is something that was apparent, as you're mentioning, from your childhood and your early years in like junior high and high school. What have you done to continue to nurture and feed your creativity? And a little spoiler alert, one of them culminated in a pretty big recognition and award recently as well. But like, let's talk about your creative journey and how you're always feeding that.
Oh, geez. That's a really good question. I just think a lot of my creativity comes from my clients, especially doing vivid hair and just creative is kind of seeing what their hair will allow. So, especially during the lightening process, just kind of seeing what naturally comes about and is exposed will sometimes really direct me where I want to go. So, a lot of times I go in with not a super set intention and just kind of feel my way through it, especially as we're changing into different palettes. So I like to really think of my vivid work as like, what can I roll it into for the next to keep it transitioning versus doing constant flips all the time. And that's pretty much what I do with my hair too. Every time I do it, my formula is different. Like it's never the same. I'm always kind of adding a little bit to the party. So that's kind of the approach that I have taken with color. And also really focusing on my clients and what their lifestyle is like. Like, if it's something that they're not going to maintain, then I'm going to be placing it in certain areas. So
Yeah.
just really focusing on what their lifestyle is like as well.
And then let's talk about the competition you entered and accidentally won.
Well,
Accidentally. Talk about the creative awards and your experience in making that and how what
okay.
brought you to that, because that's a pretty big accomplishment.
So not one, but placed. So I roomed with this really crazy girl named Heather, and we,
She sounds so cute. Tell me more.
yes, we were in a little tiny bedroom in a hotel. Sorry, it was a hotel in New York, and we did a photo shoot competition, and it was just such an amazing experience. I had hired a model for this, and it was just one of the times where it was like you have full creativity. Like you didn't really have to check in with boundaries and all of that. Like you had full creative freedom. So it was such an amazing experience just to really create what you wanted to create. So I did that and ended up entering for hair cutting, and I took bronze for the United States. So that was such an amazing experience.
And very well deserved. You're an Olympic medalist hairdresser, basically. Yeah, I mean, this is my very famous friend Jenna. It's hard to get past her really cute appearance, obviously, to believe that she could actually be a good artist. So ridiculous to me to think that someone would be like, "Yeah, you're probably not a good fit for a salon, being that you have really cute creative hair, great makeup, and fun piercings." Like, what the irony?
That's the thing that always floored me is when people would talk about how you looked, and it's like, do you not realize we're in a creative industry? But
Yeah.
I think for a long time, it just was not ever seen that way. And I'm happy that the culture is changing and it's slowly starting to embrace more individuality and authenticity from people. So,
Yeah. And you're really good at helping to execute that and start to finish, understanding your guest, their experience, their lifestyle, the limitations with their hair. And like you said, in this creative competition, you had no limits, which is really fun for an artist to just do whatever comes to mind based on paying the
yes.
model with their clientele. there's some stipulations like they have to like it and live with it, minor details.
Yes.
Um, what is the main feeling that you want every guest who sits in your chair to have, or how do you really stay consistent with producing and delivering the results that you do in your space now that's gotten you to the level of your career that you're at?
I think the most important thing for me is for everybody to feel valued and welcomed, because I know for many years there was times that I did not feel that. Um, so I want everybody to know that they're very valued and seen as their authentic self. That it's not having to try to fit them into a certain mold. It's really understanding who they are and bringing out the best of what they want to portray.
Which is
So,
beautiful. I think you
yeah.
do a good job of that even in your friendships and the people you interact with and the way that you're in
Oh,
space. You are. I
thanks.
mean, it might just be because you are amazingly awkward and you're just yourself everywhere you go. No, but it is so fun. I mean, I just think it's been like the biggest blessing to have been able to accidentally meet up with you in that training. And it's weird having a friend that, I mean, like I've never actually met your children, only on FaceTime.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like such a connected part of your world. And I know it's been really nice, especially when you and I were both making our transitions into salon ownership after years in the
Yes.
industry. And then more recently, as you were making the transition into becoming part of the national team for Goldwell, traveling across the country to educate other salons, and you're a triple threat. You don't just do one thing. You're teaching cutting and color, and a lot of the different things that people might really focus on one thing. You're able to do all of it, which is placing you at more demand as well as an educator. So who knew where the journey would take us? I want to
I
know a little bit about what made you decide to open your own salon. What was your inspiration for that? And also, it's called Ruby Lou. Tell me why it's
It
named that too.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the salon that I was at since I was 16, so I was there for 16 to 21 as a receptionist and 21 for 14 and a half years as a stylist, and worked my way up to managing and mentoring the new stylists that were coming in. The owner that I worked for was really amazing and loved bringing in stylists fresh from school and mentoring them up to stylists. So it was really fun for me to be a part of that journey. But I had kind of reached my ceiling there. I had done everything that I could. So I was ready to start my own journey to keep pushing myself. So I rented a little salon suite for a year and with a friend of mine, Brina, and realized I didn't love being in a little room. So I was ready for more space. So that's when I moved over and rented my now salon. And I am not super creative with words, as it turns out. So my girls are Ruby and Lula. So my mom named the salon. She's like, why not just Ruby Lou? So I'm like, sounds great. I got nothing else. So there the name was born. And my whole idea with that was just to be a really open, accepting community where everybody can just be who they are. We have a very friendly but professional atmosphere there. And I just wanted to bring like minded people together where we can just all create what we do best under one roof and just being able to be inspired with other people that you work with and see things that other people are doing, I think is such a major part of this industry that I was missing that when I was working by myself. So,
Hey, business owners. Yes, you. I know you're juggling it all: marketing, admin tasks, websites, podcasts, social media. The list never ends. That's where Spark comes in. We're a virtual assistant company built just for small business owners, because once you're able to delegate, we know you'll be able to dominate. Our clients are seeing up to 30% increase in social media engagement and sales, all by letting us handle the behind the scenes work. Not to mention an incredible boost in flexibility profit, and time. So scan the QR code right now to schedule a free chat with my team. Let's make you efficient AF and help you focus on what you do best, growing and leading your business. That's great to call out because I think a lot of people, when they feel like they've hit the ceiling in their current space, whether they're a renter or they're a commissioned stylist, they want the next step maybe to be a boss or to own their own thing. And partially it can be autonomy. It can be so that they can expand and have more flexibility. Other people, it's so they can be more creative or other things like that. And I think when people take that step from a team-based space into a solo suite or sharing like you did with your friend, you can start to miss out on the community or miss out on a little bit of the connection points. So that's great to call out. And how you solved it was by taking on the entire behemoth of being a salon owner, not a small feat. What has
Yeah.
surprised you most since opening your own salon space?
Oh, that it's truly so much work. So much work all the time. I'm working all the time. But it's something I enjoy. So, and for people that are in salon suites, for a lot of people that fits their personality and they like that comfy, cozy. Brina and I didn't always work the same schedule. So when she wasn't there, I was like, oh, this is sad. So
All
it was,
by
I
myself. That was
know.
Jenna closing up at
Oh
night.
my gosh, truly. So it has been just very inspiring being able to be around other artists all the time. But yeah, it's definitely a labor of love.
And you said you work all the time, which I personally like. Every time I hear that, my soul dies a little bit inside. As a fellow business owner, it is exhausting to be, the buck stops at you, even if you have a support team, even if you have staff and other people who are, supporting you and collaborating. Ultimately, you're it. If something goes wrong, if there's a pipe burst
Yes,
at 3 a.m., you're
exactly.
there figuring it out. How do you manage and navigate the stress? You also mentioned your children. You've got 4 children total with your spouse, that his 2 children and then yours. That's 4 kiddos you have been keeping alive and taking care of and supporting, as well as, so the whole thing with the family, with your own clientele, with your travel and teaching schedule, and then with owning the salon. How do you balance the pressure and the stress? How do you stay afloat?
I think just really feeling positive about all of the good things that are happening and just the excitement of the things that are going on and happening, just it keeps you going, it keeps you motivated. And just knowing that when that pipe bursts, which tends to happen next door and then floats into our salon, that
Special, isn't it?
uh, it's so great that, just being able to help be the lifeline for other people. I think for me, just that mentoring and helping people grow in their career has been something that's truly filled my cup so much that keeps me going. And I also have a dog named Roxy who is the best. So after any long days, she's just a snuggle of happiness.
I have a human named Roxy, as Jenna does know, and
Yes.
she is also the best and a snuggle of happiness. So, dog or human, it is definitely about having the Roxy in your life, right?
Yes. Yes. Everybody in my family knows that Roxy is my favorite child.
Perfect. I love it. This is great. Same with me, actually, over here. I think it's also really inspiring to hear how much you enjoy giving to others and the mentoring piece, because that is a recharge. And people who might not understand how empowering it is to mentor or how much it can give back to us as we give to others. It's not everybody's thing. It's not everybody's talent. But even starting in your first salon that you worked at, you were in charge of mentoring. You were a lead educator. And then that parlayed into your work with Goldwell. Let's talk a little bit about your journey as an educator. What does it mean to you to be on the Goldwell national team? And what was that journey like?
Oh my gosh, such a journey. So I would say it was early in my career that I went to my first Goldwell show and was just so inspired by that. Just the excitement of being there, and everybody was just so excited to learn something new. I knew I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So that was something I definitely put feelers out for. Anybody that just feels kind of apprehensive or shy, if you can do something or not, just put it out there. Because it's amazing when you put things out there, what can happen. So I think it was probably one of the local educators I had probably brought it up to. And when there was an opportunity to hire somebody, she brought it to me. So I auditioned and I started off on the KMS team. And this was, gosh, probably like 17 years ago.
Yeah.
So started off with just teaching product knowledge and then kind of got into doing some styling. And that has just been such an amazing journey going forward to doing that. And then I started to do Goldwell as well. And then in the end, moved forward with Goldwell because I loved the opportunity there where I could be teaching both cutting and coloring. And I love so much being able to travel and share that experience with stylists everywhere. And so it has been such an honor to be a part of the national team where I'm constantly going into new places and meeting new people. It's very inspiring hearing what they're doing, seeing what they're doing, and then also being able to like add to their cup. And being from Wisconsin, it's very fun to see things that are happening in different areas of the state. Just even climate, like what are problems because of humidity. Like I used to think that I knew what humidity was until I went to Houston. So
And I don't know what that word means. So I'm going to Google it really quickly because I'm from Arizona. I'm like, why do
and
people have
everything is sucked out of your skin.
I was
Yes.
like, I'm actually 12, but I look like I'm 95 because I'm just like living in a dehydrator. That's how it is here. An oven, the dehydrator had a baby and it's Arizona, right?
Yes.
And Satan is the babysitter of that baby. So anyway, something I think I like what you're calling out to with being in other salon spaces and seeing what people are doing all across the states, seeing what's happening in this pocket. Or it's interesting too to notice like what styling products people are grabbing more in different climates,
Yes.
or
Yes.
the challenges people have with color. We have really hard water here in Arizona, and in some places where like we have tons of sunlight pretty much every day of the week, 45 hours a day. So we're looking at way different challenges than people who live in coastal climates or people who are in different parts of the country that have humidity or less sunlight. So, and looking at as well, like the different trends, big cities, smaller towns, there's all kinds of micro trends happening all across the United States. And it is fun to have that chance. I like as a salon owner, and I'm not sure if you've seen this and experienced this yet, but I love looking at what salons are doing, not just in trend, but what are the best practices? Or the assistant who shows up to help me open the salon. I mean, now everybody who listens, who's ever hired me as a national artist, knows that I'm always doing reconnaissance. Big Brother is watching. Like, I'm asking the front desk team, what are you doing for specials and promotions? How are you tracking and celebrating guest milestones? I talk to the assistants. What's your assistant program like? What do you like? What do you wish was different? I'm in the break room and I'm looking at the wall and I'm like, that's cool how they have that up there. You know, I feel like I'm constantly gaining inspiration for my own salon team.
Yes.
And it's a really gratifying experience. And then that's what inspired me to start Spark and provide virtual assistance to other salon owners, just seeing the overwhelm, the exhaustion, hearing people like you say, I don't ever not work. But then looking at that and being like, well, what could support this? And what's the missing puzzle piece for this space? And how do I reverse engineer it and make it happen? So I think it's very fun to go in and look at, look under the hood of other
Yes.
places. And so, yeah, you get to inspire and teach and learn alongside of people. So it's a double whammy. That's cool.
I
What?
think it's also too validating people. You
Mhm.
know, I just think is also exciting too that I feel like a lot of times we always self-doubt. And so just being able to you're doing an amazing job. Like that's also very inspiring too.
Yeah. Like you're not alone. And when someone talks about, even when you're in your suite by yourself, but when someone talks about a challenge they're having with a guest or this product or this type of hair or this thing, and I think especially as a salon and business owner, we face different challenges to maybe a stylist who's just operating their own kind of individual business. But when you talk to another salon owner from 5 states away or someone who's been doing it for 10 years longer, and they're like, yeah, I had a really hard time with this thing, or I experienced a walkout, or There was the
Yeah.
year I did the most revenue and took home the least amount of money. And you're like, so it's not just me. And so I do think it's not only being able to validate them, but also learning that like we're not isolated. We're not experiencing this in a vacuum. We're not the only ones struggling. So that's
Yeah.
really cool. That's what I've loved about our connection and our ability to collaborate and talk. So how long ago did you start Ruby Lou?
Over 7 years now. Yeah, because Lua was 1 years old.
Oh, you had two babies, a salon baby and a human baby. And then you brought
Yes.
Roxy into the family right after that.
Yes.
All the crazy things. And I remember when I wound up buying my salon almost 5 years ago. I mean, I think I probably texted you and called you maybe every week for the first,
Yes.
hey, Jenna, what do you do about, hey, Jenna, about that? And it was so helpful to just have someone I knew and trusted that I could reach out to and connect with in that. You were so instrumental.
And that's what I think is just so fantastic is just being able to meet these people and letting each other be like vulnerable and asking real questions and just helping each other out. Just really trying to elevate this community and this industry as a whole. So
Yeah. And I
that's
think
been
you're the walking embodiment of that. So thank you. Cause I know you were very instrumental in my training. I mean, I was so overwhelmed when I bought my salon. I
it
did
is
not know.
overwhelming.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know what I was doing.
You have
Um,
no idea.
I still don't. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I actually still don't know what I'm doing. I hope my team doesn't listen to this podcast. I've been faking it for 5 years, smiling and pretending I got it together, right?
It and that's the other thing that I think is so inspiring about this industry is that everything is constantly changing. So you are constantly changing, growing, learning, and evolving. And if you're not, it's stagnant is not good. So
Right.
just always learning and changing. So none of us should ever be the I know what's going on because as soon as you think you know, it's changing again. So you
Mhm.
have to keep learning and changing.
And that can be really hard for some people. And I think being adaptable is clearly such a strong suit of yours, but also being open to new information, right? Instead of saying, I know, asking good questions. And then I remember when you went from going, you think you were strictly rental and you started bringing on team members. Then I remember the
Yes.
questions came back my direction and it was like, Heather,
Yes. Oh my
okay,
gosh.
so I think I'm gonna hire my first team
Yes.
member. And that was so helpful. I think I was like, oh, I'm so happy I have a chance to like, maybe I can help you with something. And we
I
talked
was
about handbooks and how to do the things.
I was literally peeing my pants because I'm like, I'm gonna get sued. I don't know how to do this right. Oh, and then the do you remember when I started changing your handbook accidentally?
So I had a handbook created and I was like, Jenna, I'm going to share everything on Google Docs. And I sent everything over. And then I had a new hire on my team. So I would like copy and send an email with like all of our documents, like, here's your onboarding welcome packet to my new team. And I sent it to them and I was like, it said like Ruby Lou Salon and it had all of your roles. And I was like, hey, Jenna, you were supposed to make a copy of that and then, and then make edits. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Well, the great news is you can go back and go to like which version. And so I was able to fix it really quickly. But so we're not necessarily known for our technology
No,
skills.
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, it's fine. It only took me 4 hours and $3,000 to fix. I'll send you a bill pretty soon.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway,
no big deal. Yeah, I'm glad we
what are
got that.
you? We got it all sorted out. It was fun. It was really cute. And I was like, oh, look. And I can see Jenna's little cursor moving on the document. She's editing in real time.
My God, it would have only been better. Like, so what I would have done was probably sent that out to everybody, and then they would be like, "Why are you sending me a handbook for not our salon?" That's the difference between us. At least you read it. I would have just sent it.
She's like, everybody in Wisconsin, these are the rules for tantrum in Arizona. Perfect. That's great.
Please be on board.
What are you most like, what's making you the most happy in your work right now in the salon? What is the most exciting, rewarding, fulfilling for you right now?
It's fun right now because I think that things are starting to change. So every so frequently, there's a shift in what we're seeing, and long hair was a huge thing for a while, and I'm loving that like shorter shapes are starting to come back in. I also feel like more natural, softer colors are coming back in. So just kind of it just feels energizing again that we're kind of making a shift into seeing some new trends I think that's always fun.
What are you loving most about teaching?
What I love most about teaching right now is I feel like for people that are newer to the industry, they never really did a lot of shorter shapes because for the last handful of years, it's been longer hair trending. So I am obsessed with bobs right now, and I have been loving teaching that so much. Just kind of getting back to seeing some of those really classic shapes and precision work come back in that you're not necessarily doing with like longer shapes. So that has been fun for me.
I remember before everybody had a podcast and before my team made me do one that we were like, what if Double Boost and Flat Marvel had a show? And it would probably have been more of like a reality show wherein
Yes,
we
nobody,
were
no,
destroying
no
everything.
value, no value.
Absolutely zero takeaways, nothing valuable. And it was going to be very, very impressive. I actually remember, I'm still remembering we were at one of the classes in New York and we were not part of the national team yet. So we weren't quite under like, we didn't have to be so important and special, but we, we were at the class and I was like, I feel like something's missing. I look tired today. And also I don't have makeup on today
Oh
either.
my
And
God.
I was like, what's going on? And you're like, you don't have mascara on. I had like my white eyelash primer. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, I need to go find makeup because we're already gone for the day. So like during our lunch break, we went to Sephora and I bought some
Sephora.
mascara
Yep.
because you're like, Heather, you don't have makeup on, you idiot. And I was like, I knew I was missing something.
I was
Oh,
just thinking about that the other day too. And oddly enough, I was teaching a class and did the same thing where I'm like, I look weird today. And somebody brought it to my attention that it's not white primer because I'm so blonde. I have no eyelashes that
it's
I
just
didn't have
you.
mascara.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Why do I look so washed out and tired?
It's
Because you didn't
just
put
you.
makeup on. Oh, okay. So then you thought of me in that one time. It was
It's just your natural beauty coming through. Put something on that.
I have a paper bag until you can find that mascara. Don't worry, honey. I'm excited because we've talked about doing something really fun with cut and color combo with Bob's. It'll be fun. So keep tuned to what we do. That'll be fun. And I get to have you come out to my salon, which I'm very excited about. I'm mostly doing it to save my friend from the Midwest dying of hypothermia. So I want to bring you out in the spring, but it'll be so fun to see you here. And I would love to know if there's anything you want to share with our team, like if there's a business book, an inspirational podcast, or favorite kind of inspirational resource that you have that you want to share with listeners, something that keeps you going or motivated. Do you have anything like that in mind?
Honestly, I don't really read inspirational books. I do listen to The Thriving Stylist. I
Okay,
like
cool.
that. Yeah, I would say that. That's kind of my business
Hmm.
podcast that I like to listen to.
Nice. Brett Siva's work is great.
Yeah, otherwise, for me, podcasting is about tuning off
Mhm.
and listening to some murder story that makes me feel really good about my life.
And that is inspiration enough.
Or like catfishing, like, is this really happening? Um, wait, this is actually happening? I can't even think of the name right now, but
That is
yeah,
that is a podcast name.
yeah, yeah. It makes you feel better about your petty problems.
In a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jenna, Pauline, Lanaway Muehlenberg. Also, please share with the guests who else has the same middle name as you.
Miss Ruby.
Ruby, Pauline, but then
Well,
there's also
Ruby.
a man in your life.
Yes, my husband, when we got married, I said that I was not taking his last name unless he's taking mine. So we both made my maiden name into our middle names.
And why did you do this? I loved what you explained to me
You
when you
know,
told me the story.
well, okay. I know he's not going to listen to this, so it is okay to say. If we ever get divorced, actually, I mean, I've said this to him, so I guess it wouldn't matter if he did listen. If we ever get divorced and I have to change my last name again, you're going to have to change your name too to equally get rid of me. So,
So nothing punitive about that at all. I do like that it's pro-feminist. It's outside the box. It's quirky. It's weird. It's basically my beautiful friend Jenna in a nutshell. Thank you so much for joining us today on Brazen and Bold. I hope everybody listening had some fun getting to know my beautiful friend and learn from her as much as I have. Thank you all for listening. And also, Jenna, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.